What's up, you guys? Today's episode, I'm gonna be teaching you guys how to do the EQ for my vocals, and let's get started with it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring up the main voice, primera voz, and we're gonna start with that one first. So you could hear there's a lot of like stage bleed and instruments behind it. It's a lot of noise bleed to it. So eventually we'll bring that out with the gate or bring out the majority. But what I'm gonna do first, I'm gonna start off with the EQ. And like all the other instruments, I'm gonna start off with a low end cut first. What I like to do is I like to bring it up pretty high and then work my way back with it until I find a comfortable spot.
Las 4 de la mañana, pero si a mí no me espanta, si llego y no está despierta, no le pego a la...
So right here is pretty excessive. What I'm gonna do is slowly roll it back until I find a spot that I like.
Y si la encuentro dormida, de un zurdazo la despierto, que caliente las de harina para que almuerce el muñeco. Yo aquí bailando con viejas que ni conozco.
So to start with, I'm gonna be about that 150-ish, 155. And my next move, I'm gonna take out some of the low end, the muddiness to it. Like always, it's gonna be a tight band. We're gonna boost it up about 10. And what I'm gonna do is listen to the frequencies and the voice to see what I'm liking and what I'm not liking in it.
De la mañana y no he llegado a mi casa, ya se anda a estar acordando de mi madrecita santa. Las 4 de la mañana, pero si a mí no me espanta, si llego y no está despierta, yo le pego a la piñata. Y si la encuentro dormida, de un zurdazo la despierto.
So this is gonna be the spot where I'm gonna take out, reduce it. We're gonna start with about a negative, I wanna say about a -3, -3.5, and then start from there. Take out a little bit more if we need to.
Arriesgando de que me asalte un velado mañoso.
Bring it down just a bit more.
¡Qué barbaridad! Ella echa daño en lo peligroso.
And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up the width on it. Get a couple more of the frequencies around it, so it sounds a bit more natural. And now for the next one, we're gonna go to our mids. And I'm gonna be looking between that, maybe about 300 to about 1,000, maybe 1,200-ish. See for a frequency that I'm not liking. Same thing, bump it up to about 10. Tight band, and we're gonna sweep it.
Y si la encuentro dormida, de un zurdazo la despierto, que caliente las de harina para que almuerce el muñeco. Yo aquí bailando con viejas que ni conozco, arriesgando de que me asalte un pelado mañoso. ¡Qué barbaridad! Ella echa daño lo peligroso.
On this one, it's gonna be about that what is that? About 630-ish, 630 to 650-ish. Gonna reduce that part. Bring our vocals back.
Las 4 de la mañana y no he llegado a mi casa, ya se anda a estar.
Same thing all over again. Open it up so we can have a little bit more of the frequencies around it so it sounds a little more natural.
Las 4 de la mañana, pero si a mí no me espanta, si llego y no está despierta, yo le pego a la piñata.
You don't want to kill the voice with it, you just want it to take out just ever so.
Y si la encuentro dormida, de un zurdazo.
So now what I'm gonna do is on this higher end between about 5K to maybe 11K, I'm gonna look for the brightness, the airiness of the sound. This is where the S's are gonna stand out, the T sound, And we're gonna do the same thing. Bump up the gain to about 10. Tighten the band, and we're gonna listen to it and see what frequency. Right here, it's a frequency that you like that you could either add or you could take away. For some guys, when they're talking, you'll hear the S really harsh on them. And so if you're hearing that too hard, then you want to take out that frequency. If it's not there enough, then what you want to do is you want to boost it just a bit so that the words can stand out a little bit more.
Y si la encuentro dormida, de un zurdazo la despierto, que caliente la hace harina para que almuerce el muñeco.
So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna boost it, and we're gonna open this one up a bit.
Yo aquí bailando con viejas que ni conozco.
And then on the very top end,
Arriesgando de que me asalte
on the very
un
top end, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a
pedazo
high cut to help reduce any of like the cymbal bleed into the mic. We're gonna bring it up to about the 12K. Up there. And then what I'll do is that first one, the high mid one, we'll boost it up a little bit more. Boost it up. Open it just a bit.
Ay, ¿qué tal, compadre? Complacido por ahí, compa.
Yeah, I still feel like it has a little too much of the low end, a little too much boominess for his voice. So I'm gonna bring this one down just a bit. A bit more. And then after this, we're gonna work on our compression.
Las 4 de la mañana y no he llegado a mi casa, ya se han
That sounds fine right there. I don't want it to be overkill. I want the voice to still sound normal. I don't want it to sound super dry. So for my voices, I like to do about a 2.5 to maybe a 4 if I have a harsh singer. But usually I start off with a 2.5. On my knee, I usually keep it at a 2. I want it to be kind of soft. I don't want it to be too harsh on the attacks or the compression when it's triggered. What we're gonna do is, same as always, bring it down so it starts tapping in the light. I want to get it so it's barely turning on around that 2. And then when they say a hard word or they scream into the mic, I want it to trigger a little bit higher than that too. Go up just a bit. And what I'm gonna do here is I want the attack a little bit faster because I want it to get that sibilance, the hard pronunciations or the words, like the pops or the hard T's. I want it to catch that. I don't want it to catch that back end of the word. We'll put this one. We'll start with about 25. Start around there. And the hold, not too fast, not too long, because then it's gonna be going into the next word. And the release, I'm gonna do it a little bit slower.
Yo aquí bailando con viejas que ni conozco.
We're gonna bring up our threshold a bit.
De que me asalte un pelado mañoso.
And now we're gonna give it some gain to make up for that, for what was taken away. Start right at that, about that 2.5. See if it needs more.
Le tocó una chulada de esposo, chiquitita.
Go to about 3. Now we're gonna go to our gate. So you can hear the effect of the gate. I'm gonna mute the other instruments right now, so you could hear how the release affects it. I'll put the release pretty quick, so that you could hear it sounds really choppy at first if the release is too quick of a release. Okay, let me turn the rest off. Bring it up so right now you can hear how this gate affects the voice.
Las 4 de la mañana, pero hacia mí no me espanta. Si llego y no está despierta, no le pego a la piñata. Y si la encuentro dormida, de un zurdazo la despierto.
When I'm doing this, what I want is for the mic to turn off after he stops talking and for the drums not to get like too much bleed onto the mic or to trigger it.
Yo aquí
We're gonna go up a little bit more
bailando con
still.
viejas que ni conozco,
Okay.
arriesgando de que me asalte un velado
Now.
mañoso.
If your attack is too quick, this is what it's gonna sound like.
Qué barbaridad. Ella echada yo lo peligroso. ¿Quién lo va a negar?
Kind of
Le
robotic, kind of
tocó
choppy.
una chulada de esposo. Dice.
So what we're gonna do is here, we're actually gonna bring my attack a little faster still. So about 40 ms, 40, 45. And now I'm gonna bring up the hold.
Y si la encuentro dormida.
When putting the gate, you don't want to be too high because if the singer sings too soft, it's not going to pick it up or it's going to struggle. It's going to be cutting out. So we'll bring it down to about maybe -35 right now.
Yo aquí bailando con viejas que ni conozco,
That hold is a little too short.
arriesgando de que me asalte un pelado mañoso.
And now I want it to sound a little bit more natural. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make the release slower so it kind of rolls off with the voice.
Le tocó una chulada de esposo, chiquitita.
Bring that voice back in.
Las 4 de la mañana y no he llegado a mi casa, ya se anda a estar acordando de mi madrecita santa.
We're getting there. We're just going to bring it up just a bit more.
Las 4 de la mañana, pero hacia mí no me espanta. Si llego y no está despierta, no le pego a la piñata.
There. For me, that works. Sounds more natural. It doesn't sound like
Y
it's
si la encuentro
cutting off the
dormida,
voice too quick. So now we're going to go back here. We're going to turn everything else on.
que caliente las de harina para que almuerce el muñeco.
And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the effects. Like normal, I'm going to put
Yo
it
aquí bailando
to the
con
point where it's pretty
viejas
exaggerated and then work my way down. We're going to do it one by one.
arriesgando de que
And the first effect is going to be the plate. And effect 2 is going to be a vintage hall.
qué barbaridad. Ella echada yo lo peligroso. ¿Quién lo va a negar? Le tocó una chulada de esposo. Dice.
Pick the
Y
voice back.
si la encuentro dormida, de un zurdazo la despierto. Que caliente las de harina para que almuerce el muñeco.
So the effect is there. It's just ever so slightly. I don't want it to be too strong. And we're going to mute it for now so that we could hear how the second effect is going to affect it. And same thing, bump it up pretty high. Usually on the second effect, I tend to put it a little bit lower than the first one.
Qué barbaridad, echada yo lo peligroso, ¿quién lo va a negar? Le tocó una chulada de esposo, chiquitita.
Bump it up just a bit.
Ay, ¿qué tal, compadre? Como los viejos por ahí, compa.
And now we're going to add the two effects in.
4 de la mañana y no he llegado a mi casa, ya se anda a estar acordando de mi madrecita santa.
For me, that works right about there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the second voice, which is our backup voice. Bring his voice up. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to start with the EQs. Same thing as usual. Start with the low end, put it up pretty high, and then find a spot where it sounds normal, where it's not too much, but not too little of a low end reduce.
Es zurdazo la despierta, que caliente la harina para que muerce el muñeco.
Turn off the gate, turn off everything. Now let's start over here.
Yo aquí bailando con viejas que ni conozco, arriesgando de que me suelte un pelado mañoso.
So right there it's excessive. We're gonna work our way back.
Las 4 de la mañana y no he llegado a mi casa. Ese han de estar acordando de mi madrecita santa.
Bring it up for my liking. I'm gonna bring them up to about the 150, 160. See.
Las 4 de la mañana, pero eso a mí no me espanta. Si llego y no está despierta, no le pego a la piñata.
Now we're gonna go to that low and same thing. Boost it up.
Y si la encuentro dormida,
Put a tight band and bring it to about 10. And we're gonna listen between where that low cut starts to about 400 hertz. We're gonna find a frequency that we don't like in there and we're gonna start taking that out.
yo aquí bailando con viejas que ni conozco, arriesgando de que me suelte un pelado mañoso.
For this voice is gonna be around here. This is what, about 250, 265.
Las 4
266.
de la mañana y no he llegado a mi casa. Ese han de estar
Go up a little bit more.
acordando de mi madrecita santa. Las 4 de la mañana, pero eso a mí no me espanta. Si
And now we're gonna
llego y
reduce
no
it.
está despierta, no le pego a la piñata.
You don't want to reduce too much, so we can bring it up just a bit or else it's gonna sound too unnatural.
Y si la encuentro dormida, de zurdazo la despierto. Que caliente la esterina para que muerce el muñeco.
Now we're gonna go for our low mids, same thing. Pump it up about 10
Yo aquí bailando con viejas que ni conozco,
and sweep the frequency.
arriesgando de que me suelte un pelado mañoso. Las 4 de la mañana y no he llegado a mi casa. Ese han de estar acordando de mi madrecita santa.
This is gonna be right here. It sounds like a cup effect, like he's got his hands over his mouth or over the
Las
mic.
4 de la mañana, pero eso a mí no me espanta. Si llego y no está despierta, no le pego a la piñata.
Now we're gonna bring that down. See, pretty dramatic, and then we'll bring it up a little bit so it sounds
Y
natural.
si la encuentro dormida, de zurdazo la despierto. Que caliente la
Now we can bring it down more.
esterina para que muerce el muñeco.
And then we're gonna widen it up just a bit.
Yo aquí bailando con viejas que ni conozco,
Now next step,
arriesgando de que
he's gonna be
me
looking for
suelte
that
un pelado
that brightness in the
mañoso.
voice or boosting up that high end so it could stand out a little bit more. Same thing. Bring it up 10.
4 de la mañana y no he llegado
Do a tight one.
mi casa.
And for here, we're gonna look for a frequency that we either want to add more of or we want to take away.
Salta. Las 4 de la mañana, pero eso a mí no me espanta. Si llego y no está despierta, no le pego a la piñata.
So I'm actually gonna give him a boost around here.
Y si la encuentro dormida, de zurdazo la despierto.
And we're gonna bring it down.
Caliente la esterina para que muerce el muñeco.
And then same thing as the other voice. On the high end, I'm gonna do a little bit of a high cut so that it can help reduce some of that cymbal noise that's coming into it.
Arriesgando de que me suelte un pelado mañoso.
Put it around, what's that, 13, 13.6.
Mañana y no he llegado a mi casa. Ese han de estar acordando de mi madre.
Boost up that low cut just to see how it sounds if we were to take out a little bit more of the low end.
Las 4 de la mañana, pero eso a mí no me espanta. Si llego y no está despierta, no le pego a la piñata.
That works. Now we're gonna work on the dynamic. Same thing, 2.5. And we're gonna work with a 2, with a knee on the 2. And we're gonna start bringing the threshold down so it starts flickering. Now we're gonna bring it down a little bit more so that when he's singing it's just above that 2, and then on the hard words it hits that 2, maybe a little bit more. That's excessive right there. Bring it down just a bit. Same thing, we're gonna do the attack, we're gonna bring it quicker. So about that 45 to start with. A hold, I don't want it to be too long, maybe about a 1 millisecond. What is that, 1 ms? I don't want it going too much into the next words. And the up one, the release, so that it's a little softer. We'll bring it about to the 1. Start around that 198, see how that sounds. Alright, we're gonna bring up our gain to make up for that compression, the reduction. Bring it about 2.5. That works. So now what we're gonna do, same thing as the other one. We're gonna mute all the other instruments real quick so that we could do the gate and find that right spot.
Arriesgando de que me suelte un pelado mañoso. Las 4 de la mañana y no he llegado a mi casa. Ese han de estar acordando de mi madrecita santa.
Go a little bit more. Make our
Las
attack a little
4 de
faster.
la mañana, pero eso a mí no me espanta. Si llego y no está despierta, no le pego a la piñata.
Now we're gonna bring up our hold.
Y si la encuentro dormida, de zurdazo la despierta. Que
next step
caliente la
is gonna bring to bring up the release,
para que
so
muerce
that's a little more
el
natural sounding.
muñeco. Yo aquí bailando con viejas que ni conozco, arriesgando de que me suelte un pelado mañoso. Las 4 de la mañana y no he llegado a mi casa. Ese han de estar acordando de mi madrecita santa.
Now the same thing, we're gonna go to our sends. We're gonna pretty much match the same as the first voice.
4 de la mañana, pero eso a mí no me espanta. Si llego y no está despierta, no le pego a la piñata.
When I do this, I try to match them evenly. What you could do is send it to a matrix, and then the matrix could control the volume of the effects so that it's even. But that's a little more complicated if you don't know how to route it. So for this reason, I'm just gonna send it to my effects channel right here, and just try my best to match them as close as I can.
Yo aquí bailando con viejas que ni conozco, arriesgando de que me suelte un pelado mañoso.
Here goes our voice. This is our backup voice, second.
Las 4 de la mañana y no he llegado a mi casa. Ese han de estar acordando de mi madrecita santa.
Now, when it comes to the actual volume levels, I tend to put the first voice, primera voz, or main voice a little bit higher than the second voice. The reason I do that is the second voice is really just a backup. It's not supposed to be excessive. It shouldn't be outshining the main voice, or it shouldn't be way louder than the main voice. So I like to bring it down a bit and then try to blend it in with the rest of the band. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring up the instruments and some of the band, some of the drums, but probably just the accordion and the main stuff right now, just to blend in the voices a little bit more.
Arriesgando de que me asalte un velado mañoso. Las 4 de la mañana y no he llegado a mi casa. Ya se han de estar acordando de mi madrecita santa.
So that's getting pretty close. I'll bring down that second voice just a little bit more.
Las 4 de la mañana, pero si a mí no me espanta. Si llego y no está despierta, no le pego a la piñata.
That right there is, I think, perfect volume for the two. Second voice is not overpowering.
De un zurdazo la despierto, que caliente la hace harina para que almuerce el muñeco.
Now, a lot of people say, why do you put it so low or this and that? Reason is it's backup voice, segunda voz. Segunda voz shouldn't be as loud or even louder than the primera voz. There's a lot of guys who do this and put them even, and then they wonder why it's so loud, or they don't blend. They're not gonna blend if they're at the same level.
4 de la mañana y no he llegado a mi casa, ya se han de estar acordando de mi madrecita santa.
Now we're gonna bring them down so that we can blend them in a little bit more.
Las 4 de la
Still a little too
mañana,
loud.
pero si a mí no me espanta, si llego y no está despierta, no le pego a la piñata.
That right there is about the perfect blend between the two for me.
Y si la encuentro dormida, de un zurdazo la despierto,
And
que
that's
caliente
gonna bring us to the
la
end of the
hace
video.
harina.
So in this video I showed you how to set up your gate so that it sounds smooth. Showed you how to do the compression on the voice. Like I said, you don't want it to be too excessive to the point where the voices are sounding unnatural. You still want them to have some warmth. You don't want them to be super dry and harsh sounding. And as you can see, the EQ I do on my voices is really simple, nothing too crazy. Especially since you gotta remember, these are voices that are done like on a stage or live. In a recording studio, you could do whatever the hell you want in the studio. You could bump up the lows really excessively. You could take out the mids a lot. You could bump up the highs really crazy. On a stage, you can't really do that as much because you start getting feedback from the monitors and it'll mess up your home mix. So you just want them to sound natural. You want them to sound warm. You don't want them to sound too dry. So like I say, less is more when it comes to the EQ. Do something simple, not too crazy with it. And yeah, that'll be the end of the video. If you can, do me a favor, just subscribe to the channel, give the video a like. It would be greatly appreciated. I'll see you guys on the next one.